All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to National Action Network's Legal Night. We are here in the House of Justice, which is the national headquarters of the National Action Network at 106 West 145th Street in the great village of Harlem. And so welcome to all of you who have joined us so far, and a continued shout out to all of you who we want to sign on for the program tonight. But a big welcome to the first of 2021's Legal Night. And 2021 and 2020 together will be years to remember for sure. So much has happened through the end of 2020 and into 2021, and we're going to be very excited to share some of that with you. And of course, it is just tremendous to see all of you who have signed on so far. Happy New Year to everyone. We miss being here at Legal Night. My dear friend Joel Schmelkin will correct me if I'm wrong, but we are beginning our 11th year of Legal Night. So that means while National Action Network will be celebrating its third decade this year, its 30th anniversary, Legal Night is entering into its second decade as part of the great tradition that we have built here at the National Action Network. So once again, as we always say, if it's the last Thursday of the month, it is Legal Night at National Action Network. And again, we welcome all of you who have joined us. We have particularly welcome all of the attorneys who will be joining us tonight and who will be here to help answer some of the questions and address some of the comments that those of you who are with us may make as we get into the program tonight. As always, we begin National Action Network. The president and founder is the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton. The chairman of our board is the Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, the senior pastor of Grace Baptist Church in Mount Vernon, New York. I'm attorney Michael Hardy. I'm the general counsel and executive vice president here at Legal Night. And along with myself, Joe Schmelkin, Pete Gleason, and some of the other attorneys that will be joining us tonight, we are hosting Legal Night for you. We always begin Legal Night by thanking all of the attorneys that are regular participants in Legal Night, and we always call their names because without those attorneys that join us on their own time and without a charge, they do this totally pro bono. We would not be able to really bring this program to you in the way that we would want to, because you would get sick and tired of me by myself. So I'm always glad to have the company that I have and bringing Legal Night to you, because they're a great team of attorneys that really, truly have dedicated themselves to bringing this service to you of the National Action Network. And we thank them, and you should thank them too. Our regular Legal Night team and those that are here, they can shout out real quick once I call their names. But our regular Legal Night team includes Attorney Robert Bellison, Attorney Andrew Burson, Attorney David Blum, Gary Certain, Kyle Edmonds, Jeffrey Emden, Bari Fett, Carmen Giordano, Pete Gleason, who I know is with us, Ken Gilbert, Gabrielle Harvis, Ted Kessler, Glenn Myers, Kim Parker, Edward Perchado, Royce Russell, who I believe has joined us, Joel Schmelkin, who's really in many ways the co-founder here of Legal Night, and always does a tremendous amount of work to help prepare us and get so much of the materials ready. And again, we can never thank Joel enough, but he's with us tonight. Denise Service, Wiley Seklo, Kareem Vessup. And of course, we couldn't do any of this without the great staff and some of the volunteers here at National Action Network. And we always start with the two that work, or the three, I should say, that always make sure that we are ready, willing, able, and capable of bringing Legal Night to you. And of course, we always start with the leader of that team, which is Ashley Sharpton, Patrice Perry, and Winston Gilchrist. And they are the people that do all the technical work and the organizing to get all of this out. Of course, the national coordinator for the House of Justice, Katrina Jefferson, is in the house and is with us. And it's Katrina's team that goes out to make sure that everyone that's out and about knows about Legal Night here at National Action Network. Of course, our New York field coordinator for New York State, Derek Perkinson, Arthur Robinson, and David. They help to make sure that the facility is always ready for us to go forward. We have any number of volunteers that will be with us and work to get us going. And so we thank all of them. And again, certainly we thank all of the employees. And again, even the employees, they don't have to be here for Legal Night. They too do that as part of their commitment to the cause of justice. And we can, again, never thank all of them. And of course, all of the volunteers, some of those like Brenda Dock and Brenda Ricketts, Brenda Ricketts. And we always pay tribute to Maxine Lewis, who was one of our great, she was an employee here for a while, but she always remained a part of National Action Network and a part of the National Action Network family. And she, for many years, also did and supported the great Percy Sutton. And we always call Maxine's name because she was so important to the National Action Network. And so we can't thank them enough. And we're so proud of all of them, but all of them help to bring Legal Night to you. And again, we thank you all for being with us tonight. A lot of things have happened since we turned the calendar, and I'm sure all of you are aware of some of it, but I'll be very candid when I say that I can never be prouder of the work that everyone associated with National Action Network does, because we have, for the past year now, been struck by this great pandemic that has gone across the world. No one has escaped its catch. Many have died because of it. Others have suffered through it. It has been a great terror, if you will. I don't know if that's the right word, but it has really hit at the heart of this nation. It has forced the closure of businesses, the closure of schools, the social distancing, and everything else that has kept people apart in many ways, including throughout all of the holiday season. So it's been a rough ride with the pandemic, but National Action Network, I am really proud that we were among those, with all of the health workers, of course, who everyone praises them, and they deserve the greatest praise. And hopefully collectively, they will give the Nobel Peace Prize to all the collective health workers throughout the world who've been on the front line of this pandemic. But here at National Action Network, the heroes and sheroes here at National Action Network has helped to keep us essential within our community, within our state, and within our nation, because throughout the pandemic, we have distributed over a million meals, maybe close to 1.5 million meals now throughout the heart of the pandemic. We have continued to be here and available for those that are in need on every level, whether it's health, whether it's social justice, whether it's criminal justice. National Action Network has been on the front lines, and many of you know through a lot of the hard work that everyone did, and at a time when this nation had to be motivated to ensure that it would rise up and participate and make themselves heard in the 2020 elections that we just went through. We gathered over 200,000 people safely, social distantly, mask, temperature required, no uptick in the pandemic as a result of it, but we were able to bring those 200,000 people to the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. to commit themselves to making sure that right and justice was heard in the 2020 election. And we all know now that the 2020 election ended with the election of the first Black woman vice president in the history of the United States, the first woman elected to the national presidential ticket in the history of the United States. And of course, the getting rid of Donald Trump, who lost the election, and despite all the protestations, the certification of the election declared Joe Biden and Kamala Harris the new president and vice president of this nation. And just this past week, they took the oath of office to protect and serve this nation as president and vice president. And that would have been impossible without you, the voters of this nation, who went to the polls in great numbers to do what you did in pulling that lever. And nothing made that more apparent than the state of Georgia. The state of Georgia had not voted in the way that it did since Bill Clinton, and before that, Jimmy Carter. But they came and they made history in 2020 by electing 2 new senators to the United States Senate, which caused the Democrats to now have a majority in the Senate because of the tie-breaking vote of the vice president. The Senate itself is split 50-50, but because Kamala Harris sits as the leader of the Senate, or the president of the Senate as vice president, and Chuck Schumer, who's now the majority leader of the Senate, we look forward to doing the work of this nation as they get underway. So a lot of that happened, and again, all and whatever success they have is because all of you, the foot soldiers of this nation, went out and cast your votes in the tens of millions, basically, in order to make that happen. And you all should be very proud of that and give yourselves a big, big, big collective applaud for changing the course of this nation and giving an opportunity for justice to really reign across this land. And for those of us who fight for justice, to try to bring about some of the changes that we work so hard to do. So once again, you should give yourselves a big hand for making history happen in these recent elections. And again, I say all of that because National Action Network had a voter brigade that was led in so many of the key states to make sure that the voters came out and that they were educated, they knew what the issues were, and then they were free to go and vote they did, and vote their conscience they did, and vote history they certainly did. And so again, we applaud all of you, and I hope everybody that's on here tonight was one of those who went out to cast their vote in the 2020 elections. And so with that, just a couple other things that I do want to mention. Of course, both our chairman, the chairman of our board, the Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, has a truly wonderful book out about grace. And he talks about what grace really means and how important it is to know what that is and to allow your faith in the way that you may worship, in the way that you may deal with those things that are unknown and unseen and unfelt, but that turn so much of the world and of our lives. Dr. Richardson has a new book out. It is called Witness to Grace, and it's a testimony of favor. And we encourage all of you to get a copy of this book because it's a great book. It's a great read. It's by our chairman, the Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson. And in a nutshell, it's Witness to Grace, a testimony of favor. Witness to Grace is a true life story that chronicles the remarkable journey of W. Franklin Richardson as divine, unmerited favor given freely by loving God is shown time and time again throughout each season of Richardson's life. From the humble and challenging beginnings to honored positions of power and global influence, Witness to Grace gives an intimate portrait of the rise of one of the most respected religious and civil rights leaders in our time. That's a Witness to Grace. And of course, you can call 877-626-4651 to get information on that. And of course, our president and founder, the Reverend Dr. Al Sharpton, also has a book out. It is called Rise Up, Confronting a Nation at the Crossroads. And once again, if you haven't gotten it already, you definitely should get it. And Rise Up is a rousing call to action for today's turbulent political movement, drawing on the lessons learned from Reverend Sharpton's unique experience as a politician, television and radio host, and civil rights leader. It is a profound examination of the American soul and a clarion call to action. Rise Up offers timeless lessons for anyone who stood at the crossroads of their personal or political life, weighing the choices of how to proceed, and that is Rise Up. And once again, you can call 877-626-4651 to make sure you get copies of that. And I apologize if I sound like one of those late night commercials hawking. I'm not hawking things. I am urging you to do some reading that will do you some good. And both of those books by Reverend Sharpton and Dr. Richardson are must reads so that you, again, are properly informed about the things that you really need to know to deal with all that is going on in the world today, and that will help you create a path for yourself that will allow you to be a productive part of your community, a productive part of your society and the areas that you live in, and of course, a productive part of this nation as a whole. And so we thank both of them for their efforts in both writing and getting that book out. And again, here at National Action Network, the toll-free number is 877-626-4651. And we invite you to call that number, and that's also the number that you can call whenever you need to get assistance. I also want to take a moment because as many of you know, over the last year and a half or so, or close to 2 years, William Allen has been the crisis director here at National Action Network. And William Allen is not with us tonight because William Allen is on the path and running for a city council position here in New York City. And so we miss him here at National Action Network, but we wish him well in his run to represent in the city council the great village of Harlem. And of course, that is an election, both that and the mayoral election that happens. The primaries for those elections are in June of this year. And as we turn the clock and get towards the end of January, all of those races for city office here in New York City and other cities across the nation, a number of races will be going on. But again, we miss William Allen here, but we wish him well in his endeavor to become the council person for the district that seats the National Action Network's headquarters. Also, for those of you across the country, you know, there's no more important office in many of our states than the office of the district attorneys in the various cities across the country. And there is a major race, again, here in New York and in other cities too, where people will be voting for their district attorneys across the country. But no matter where you are, because, you know, the good thing about being virtual is you don't have to be in the town or village where it's happening if you want to participate. You just have to be able to get access and you can be a part of it. So I do want to let everybody know that here in New York, there is a major race for the district attorney in the borough of Manhattan and the county of New York. And we will be participating in a debate that is coming up on February 4th. The debate itself is being sponsored by the Mount Morris Park Community Improvement Association and the Greater Harlem Coalition, and myself and McGee Hickey, who's a news person associated with WPIX here in New York. We will be the moderators of that debate, and that is on Thursday, February 4th from 7 to 9 p.m. It is a Zoom webinar, and you can go to the website of either the Mount Morris Park Association or the Greater Harlem Coalition to get all of the sign-on information so that you can watch and participate in that district attorney's debate. So with all of that said, let me come back to Legal Night now. And as always, Legal Night is done in three parts. The first part, of course, is we have the attorneys that normally make presentations. Tonight, we will be doing that by the attorneys as we do every year for the first legal night of the year. We always allow the attorneys who are participating to come on and basically reintroduce themselves to you, let you know what's been going on in the world for them, and to give you some insight into what they are doing and how they're doing and how, when necessary, they can be helpful to you. So that's always the first part of our program, are the presentations. The second part are the Q&As that we do, and that's of course the part that you participate in. That's your part of the program. Those of you that have signed on so that you have the opportunity to ask the questions of the attorneys and try to find a path to help resolve some of your issues as they relate in a legal manner. And then the third part, particularly when we are live here at the House of Justice, we allow some private time with the attorneys. So because we're virtual, there won't be private time, but the attorneys that are participating will share whatever information they need to share. So if you want, you can have an opportunity to spend some private time with those attorneys. And just before I leave, I also just want to mention, you know, 2020 was very traumatic in a lot of ways, particularly with regards to the death of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and so many others, innocents who were killed at the hand by unarmed and innocent by law enforcement officers. And so one of the things that we'll be talking about throughout the year, and we want to make sure that all of you continue to have it at the front of your mind, is there are two important pieces of legislation as part of the reason why we went out and voted the way that we did, so that this legislation may fully pass both houses of Congress. But in the Congress, which has already been introduced and passed in the House of Representatives, is H.R. 4, which is the John Lewis Voter Restoration Act, and that is an act that will reinvigorate the Voting Rights Act in this nation that was gutted in 2013 in the Supreme Court case of Shelby versus Holder. And the other is H.R. 7, which is the George Floyd Justice Act, which will amend the federal criminal civil rights statutes that will allow more efficient and not necessarily lower the bar, but not be so prohibitive, so that the Justice Department can, in fact, more actively and thoroughly pursue particularly local law enforcement that commit civil rights violations in a criminal manner. And so we just want to make sure you all stay on top of that. So with all of that said, and I'm going to go now, and let me just go ahead and start with Joel Schmelken. As I said to you, Joel has been our partner in this right from the beginning. He's played a very significant role in developing Legal Night. And so let me kick off this first part of the program by bringing in Joel Schmelken of Schmelken & Associates. And take it away, Joel. How are you? Joel, you're muted. You're muted, Joel.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Michael, thank you very much. And everyone has joined on today. We thank you. Thank you for participating in the start of our Legal Night, the start of our 11th season, starting on our second decade. You know, I echo what Mike had said. Really a special thanks to all of our support staff of Legal Night. And really, you know, I'm preaching to the choir. And for want of repetition, I'm going to say really thank you so much, because it's so difficult, you know, in terms of what you do, promoting, organizing, assembling the program, especially now with Zoom. It's a lot more difficult than it is when we do live presentations. So again, thank you to Brenda, Doc, and Wilton Gilchrist, and Derek Perkinson, Patrice Perry, Brenda Ricketts, Arthur Robinson, Dominique Sharpton, Ashley Sharpton, Katrina Jefferson. The list goes on and on and on. And I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of people, so you'll forgive me for that. But also a special thanks really to my good friend and colleague, Mike Hardy, because really, Mike, you are the backbone of Legal Night, I will say, and I really thank you really for all these special work, really, which you do, founding Legal Night under the guidance and the approval and blessing of Reverend Sharpton, who does so much, of course, for civil rights, not only in the Harlem community, but throughout the country. And really a special shout out and a special thanks to you, Rev, really for making Legal Night and allowing Legal Night to exist. Legal Night, I think, is so important. I will tell you this to all those that are first timers today, because to me, it's a platform. It's a platform to educate the community, because there's so much misinformation out over there. And just being over here, I will say that it's an honor and a privilege, and I am proud really to be a part of the legal committee here at the National Action Network, and to participate really in these important lectures and platforms. Okay, for those of you that don't know me, for coming here for the first time, I'm Joel Schmelken. I'm an attorney. My firm is Schmelken Associates PC. We're in Lower Manhattan, 30 Vesey Street. I am a born and bred New Yorker. Got my education right here in the village of Harlem at City College back in the late 1970s on 138th and Convent in the Sugar Hill section here of Harlem. And I studied civil rights and civil litigation. Thereafter, I went to New York Law School in Lower Manhattan. And since 1984, I've been representing those who have been pushed aside, underrepresented, and discriminated against. The bottom line is that many people get the short end of the stick. Many people are victims of negligence, of other people's wrongdoing, of other people's bad conduct. And this is what we do. We represent everyday people with everyday problems. Essentially, to go through a laundry list, if you will, we represent those who have been involved in serious automobile accidents. When you're involved in an accident, you have rights, certain rights with respect to getting your medical bills, hospital bills, loss of earnings, pharmaceuticals, and so on, paid. You have the right to sue for money damages to put you back in a position that you would have been in had a terrible accident never happened. These are your rights. But when you have rights, there are bad guys out there that want to take them away from you. Who are the bad guys? Well, the people that just don't want to pay and fess up to their own wrongdoing. The insurance companies. We fight insurance companies. We go after building owners, managing agents, landlords for having defective conditions in a building. If you are injured as a result of, for example, inoperable door locks, lack of security, cameras that don't work, and as a result, an intruder breaks into your building and assaults you and you're injured, you've got the right to bring on a lawsuit. And we represent those people. People that get injured in buildings due to, well, slipping and falling in a lobby. A super that mops the floor that doesn't properly guard or seal or protect an individual. You have various rights, or whether it's a misleveled elevator, a rickety rackety staircase, a ceiling which falls down and hits you. You've got rights. But again, there's always the bad guy out there that wants to diminish those rights. Who's the bad guy? Our landlords, people that just don't want to pay and fess up to their obligations. They will tell you, for example, if you bring on a suit, you will be evicted. That's not true. We want you to know what your rights are and want you to know not to be pushed around by those that want to take away your rights. You can be heard on a construction site. Building owners are responsible for that. Owners, managing agents, general contractors. Your boss will tell you that if you bring on a claim, you're going to be fired. Well, they can't do that. We're here to protect you and to let you know about those sorts of things. Getting hurt on the street, on the sidewalk, knowing who to sue. We get involved with that as well. We get involved with medical malpractice. You know, when I was a kid and years ago, and we all remember when you went to a hospital, what's the first question they used to ask you? Where does it hurt? Now, what's the first question you're asked? Well, who's your insurance company? And based upon the fact, if you've got a Class A insurance, you're going to get Class A treatment. That's wrong. And as a result of that, and as a result of misdiagnosis and not giving you the proper respect and treatment, you are injured. We're going to go after a hospital, a doctor, and the facility. Defective products. People put these things in the stream of commerce. We're going after companies if you're injured by that. And you know, there's always the issue with respect to police liability. It's in the news. We do a lot of that type of work. Most of my colleagues on this panel, I think, will tell you also that they do this type of work. It's important. And it's important to know that you have various civil rights, and if they are neglected and if they are violated by the police, whether it's false arrest, false imprisonment, malicious prosecution, excessive force, we're here to do that. We're here to help you. I think you will enjoy this program. Those of you that are here for the first time, if you do enjoy it, and I think you will, tell a friend. And if you don't enjoy it, and I don't think that's going to be the case, well, then tell us, and we're here to help you. I thank you very much. Sit back, enjoy the program. We're here to ask questions, and thank you very much for coming by.
All right, thank you, Joel. I want to bring up next, he is a truly fabulous attorney, probably one of the best trust attorneys in the nation. He knows how to carry himself in that respect. He's a wonderful author on top of all of that. Of course, it's our dear friend and colleague, the Honorable Royce Russell. Good evening, Royce.
Myself, good evening. Thank you for having me. First of all, I will echo the sentiments that Joe has stated in reference to all those that help us put on a legal night. And Michael, you know, kudos to you for every year for maintaining and sustaining, dealing with the personalities of the attorneys and the personality of those that attend legal night. And so I want to welcome everybody back. As Michael said, my name is Royce Russell. I'm an attorney, been practicing over 25 years. Name of my law firm is R Square, SQUARE, which stands for Royce Russell, ESQ. I'm going to give you my number because I can't stay on the call all the way to the end because I have another workshop that I need to do. But my telephone number is 718-785-8890. If you could put that in the chat, that's 718-785-8890. So I will tell you, I've been really a busy bee. Michael, I can appreciate you raising the books of our leaders, whether it is Brother Richardson or whether it is Brother Sharpton, in reference to their works of putting pen to paper. I tell you, it's not an easy task. As you know, I just got through writing a book not too long ago, Cardiac Arrest, a tactical guide on how to handle unlawful police stops. And I'll repeat this because I think it needs to be in your back pocket as you walk the streets of New York. Cardiac Arrest, a tactical guide on how to handle unlawful police stops. If you're going to participate in protests, if you're going to wear the shield of the protector and be able to intervene when you see police misconduct, and quite frankly, if you're an African-American male or a person of color walking the streets of New York or many other streets, that this book should be at your right-hand side. But not only have I written that book, we have turned it into a workbook because I believe education is the way. And what that workbook does is walk you through, hand in hand, educate you as to your Fourth Amendment right, your Fifth Amendment right, your Sixth Amendment right, your 14th Amendment right. What are crimes that you can be arrested for? What are crimes for which they can only write you a summons? How to take a leadership role? What are the best methods to capture police misconduct? It is my hopes that this workbook will make its way through the public school system. We have made our way through some of the charter schools. I am on task, and I'll check this off, to do a workshop with the Youth Huddle for National Action Network, as we go on to empower not only the young, not only the middle-aged, but even the old. And you fit in where you get in, whichever bracket you fit in, have a seat, how to deal with unlawful police stops. I specialize in civil rights, false arrest, police brutality, both in the state and federal. I am from the projects to a prosecutor, so I was a prosecutor, and so I do criminal defense. And I have the unique experience of working for the Department of Justice, in particular immigration, in the area of immigration. So as you can see, a lot of those things are intertwined, right? It's usually those who might be immigrant are ones that are beat upon and oppressed. Usually those that are fighting for their lives in a criminal defense arena need to make sure that they have their rights protected. And those who are victims of false arrest, police brutality, always need someone by their side. And so we're in a day and age where folks are expressing themselves and have mastered the art of protest, not only when it concerns Black and brown people in the lights of Black Lives Matter, but when it also concerns our government and what type of government we're going to have. Or it also dealing with, we want to celebrate Martin Luther King, and we want to deal with the miseducation that has taken place within our educational system. If you participate in these things, and if you're about putting your feet in the street, you need to know the do's and don'ts. So I will walk with you. I will talk with you. I may not be with you all tonight, but I'll be here many legal nights to come. Feel free to call me. Feel free to ask me what you need, because if I don't know the question, if I don't know the answer, as a good lawyer should know, they should know to put you in contact with someone that does. And don't wait for the moment to seize you. You seize the moment. Take down every single name of every attorney that's on this panel, whether it's today or next week, because when the moment seizes you, you want to be prepared to seize it. You want to be able to say, I know Peter, I know Joe, I know Michael, I know Royce, I know Gary, I know many of the others that sit on Legal Night, and I'm not going to let the moment empower me. I'm going to empower myself to take over the moment. So thank you for having me. If you see me get up and down, that is because I am like Nolan in his kitchen cooking for my daughter, and I also got to get ready to get on this other panel. So please forgive me, and thank you. And thank you for having me.
All right. Thank you, Royce. Really appreciate you so much. All right. Next up is Peter Gleason. And Peter, like like some of the other attorneys on Legal Night, I always remarked that Pete Gleason has no fear. And I've seen him in action in that way. And he has tackled some great situations. And I have such great respect for him and his work and his dedication and support of Legal Night. Peter, welcome. Good evening. You're muted.
Unmute.
There you go.
I'm here. Thank you, Michael Hardy. I really appreciate that kind introduction. And, welcome everybody to Legal Night. My name is Pete Gleason. I am an attorney. I do civil rights work. I do criminal defense work. I do personal injury work. And like Mr. Russell just said, if I don't know the answer to it and you call me, we're going to find the answer for you, because that's what good lawyering is all about. It's putting together a cooperative like the Reverend Al Sharpton and Michael Hardy have done here in Legal Night. You put a cooperative together and you work for a common goal. And that common goal is for social justice through the court system. And that's what we're here for. I look forward to this. I'm sorry this is not done in person because of the crazy times we're living in, because it's always a pleasure to go to the House of Justice. It feels like a second home. And I thank everybody for attending tonight. And if everybody can keep in their thoughts and prayers a daughter and a sister of Harlem, Cicely Tyson, I just saw a scroll across my computer screen, has passed away. So I know she was an icon in the village of Harlem, and there are many icons in the village of Harlem. So
yeah. No, thank you, Peter, and you're so right. I was about to also let everybody know that yes, Cicely Tyson passed. Cicely Tyson in our convention, which was during the would have been the 40th anniversary of the death of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We did our convention in Memphis, Tennessee, in honor of that moment. And Cicely Tyson was our honoree that evening. She has worked closely on a number of things with Reverend Sharpton and National Action Network. And of course, none of us can ever forget so much that she contributed to us in the way that she not only carried herself with the grace of the woman that she was, but truly one of the world's greatest actresses and a real pathfinder and trailblazer for those in that profession who now look up to her and hold her as the model of perfection when it comes to acting. And so she will be greatly missed. And we've lost some real giants throughout this year. Of course, it would also be remiss not to mention, and I'm always shocked that his name is not bantered around like Jackie Robinson and Willie Mays and some of the others. But we lost Hank Aaron, who was the first modern player to break the home run record of Babe Ruth. He's in the record books as being the leader in home runs, although you got to put an asterisk by that because Barry Bonds, surpassed him. And but Hank Aaron passed this past week too, and another great champion, and not only a champion, but a real officer and gentleman. Someone actually was telling me the story that, and actually it might have been you, Joe, that was telling me the story of someone who had written to Hank Aaron, and he literally took the time to respond to that person And that's the kind of person that Hank Aaron was. You know, he was not too big to be with anyone and to help anyone that he was in a position to help. Joe, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
I agree. And even though he played against the Yankees in 1957 and 1958 in the World Series, he still was someone who should be respected and honored. For 33 years, from April 8th of 1974 until 2007, he had the record of 755. And a lot of people still say that he is the true home run king, with a little asterisk next to Barry Bonds, but it's another issue, whatever. But I'm a Hank Aaron fan. I'm also a Willie Mays fan. I remember when the two of them were going neck and neck for seeing who was going to approach Ruth's record. I will tell you this, I was a Mays fan. I was rooted for Mays for a couple of reasons. Number one, he played in New York, and more importantly, he played in Harlem. And that's the important thing.
That's right.
Mays, Mays, Aaron, these guys were great. They were great.
Yeah. I thought it was, and we have one more attorney that's going to be presenting, but I thought it was really interesting in the New York Times obituary for Hank Aaron. They did show a picture of Hank Aaron and Willie Mays together, and to Willie Mays's great credit, or to the New York Times' selection, it was a picture of Hank Aaron and Willie Mays in his Mets uniform, his Giants uniform. And so I thought that was really good. I think there may be some other attorneys that's joining us, but we have one of our new attorneys with us. This may be the first time that he's formally presenting here at Legal Night, but we want to give him a great welcome, and we want him to let all of you know exactly who he is, the work that he does, and how we can look forward to him being a regular and great participant of Legal Night. We want to bring in Hassa Kingo. Good evening, Hassa.
Hello, how are you all? My name is Hassa Kingo, and I am an attorney practicing in the public sector. I worked for about 4 years as an assistant district attorney at the New York County District Attorney's Office, and then I transitioned to working in the court system. I've worked for 2 judges in the court system. I worked for Justice Peter Moulton, who's now in the appellate division. And doing that work, I was able to work on in a general assignment part where we worked on everything from motor vehicle cases to personal injury cases. And then I now work for Justice George Silver in the New York Supreme Court, where I work on a number of cases, medical malpractice cases, cases dealing with the Child Victims Act, and a number of other cases. And so I've really been all over the place with my legal background and the number of kinds of matters that I've been able to handle. You can see my kids are in the background. They're just, they're about to go to bed. So I just wanted to, obviously be here because I know I live in Harlem, and I know how important it is to have legal voices supporting the community. And so I wanted to be here to join you. I've heard the wonderful accounts that other attorneys on this call have shared, and I just want to be of service in any way that I can. So thank you for inviting me, and thank you for having me here. This year, I'm also throwing my hat in the ring to run for civil court judge. And so I hope that
Excellent.
I'm successful in that endeavor, but nonetheless, as long as I'm a practicing attorney, I'm going to be helping Derek Perkinson and the rest of the folks in my community. And I just wanted to make myself known and to say welcome.
Well, we appreciate you being here. And of course, Hassa, I'm sure that Judge Silver has told you that he was one of the great friends and colleagues of the godmother of the National Action Network, the late Honorable Teresa Freeman.
Absolutely.
And
Rest in peace. Absolutely.
She and I don't want to tell on the judge, but she and Judge Silver were great partners and partners in the sense of colleagues and friends, but they knew how to stir up the right kind of righteous trouble together.
Good trouble.
So you're with an excellent jurist and a very honorable person in the Honorable George Silver, and George himself, or Silver, excuse me, is also a very, very deep, close friend of the Harlem community and of National Action Network. So we really welcome you being with us, Hassa, and we again look forward to you being here. Okay, so with all of that said, and Derek jumping around in the background, which is always good, it's your turn. Those of you that have signed on to be with us tonight, again, we really appreciate you, and we appreciate you allowing us to indulge you in our presentations, and also to, try to keep you up to date on things that we think that you should be aware of and be participating in. So who's up first, Patrice? All right. Are you saying you don't have any questions in the chat? All right. All right. Well, one general request we got is if the attorneys can put their basic contact information into the chat area. But again, you can always know, for all of you that are with us, you can call 1-800-626-4651. That's the toll-free number here at National Action Network. And if you don't pick up the attorney's numbers, you can always call the House of Justice, and we will connect you to them. They're very used to us facilitating those phone calls, and that's one way to make sure that you get through to them. You start the call by saying, National Action Network asked me to call attorney Russell or Schmelkin or Gleason or Kingo down at the courthouse. You can bother him too. All right. Am I saying this, Najee? Is she unmuted? All right. I think you have to unmute yourself, Najee.
Can you hear me now?
Hey.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. I want to ask a serious question.
Okay.
I am trying to understand, how can I get SUNY to release records? Now, I know this seems as a very simple question, but it's not. I've had congressmen call, and UAlbany has basically said, Brian's not available, They're basically protecting Brian. At this point, they're protecting Brian. He is a white man. And in a statement, he did identify my seizures as an abnormal state of health. I am someone who has survived a second coma. And when I was on campus, instead of Brian, realizing that I was having a seizure, because my mom, did say that I was having a seizure, they did take away my phone while I was seizing because my mom was calling. And I was restrained, and they put something in my right arm. I think it's similar to what Elijah McClain had. And then I didn't stop seizing. So then they shot me up again with something in my right thigh. I don't know what has gone into my body. My doctors have reached out to the university. They are ignoring them also. And reporters have reached out, doing the same thing. Students have reached out. The school president has reached out. They have told them, this issue does not concern you. And I'm not surprised at all, because UAlbany did take me to the Supreme Court back in 2015. And they basically dragged out the case for close to 3 years, trying to wear me out because I had no lawyer. Everyone thought that my case was a loser case. And, people were like, we don't understand why a SUNY university would sue a disabled person who's terminally ill and disabled by the state of New York. And, no one wanted to represent me because they were afraid of SUNY. And they were also afraid that the court paper said state of New York. To this day, it's reported that I'm sorry, I'm having a seizure.
Take your time, Najee.
Um, to this day, it's reported that close to three, it's, it's reported that close to 300 students have been sued by SUNY, and they've realized also the same way I realized that they are using the state of New York to do their bidding. And a lot of students now, they have seen my story, they did see my YouTube video, and they followed my process through the fight. And I feel like SUNY is retaliating against me because I did win the lawsuit. And when the judge asked me, did I want to countersue them, I said, no, I am very sick. I just want to graduate before I die. And I am being very realistic. I have sickle cell disease along with epilepsy, along with essential tremors on my left side of my body. That's why you're on the tripod and my face is not showing because I'm very shaky. I need my injections soon. I also have progressive multifocal encephalopathy, which is a very rare brain disease. And basically, it's on the right side of my body and it's taking over the white matter of my body. And it's progressive. And I've noticed this pandemic, it has been progressing a lot. And I guess it's because of the stress of the pandemic and also me trying to fight to get my records from New Albany. And I noticed that when Brian was trying to get me to have a hearing, he understood that when I came out of the coma, I didn't have all of my memory. And I did have my sister call and said she does not have her full memory yet. And we made that call while I was in a nursing home. And he was just like, well, if she's up awake, then I don't understand why we can't have a hearing. And, my doctors did write a letter for me saying, she's in the nursing home. When she's able to get out and she's better and her memory's working better, then she can have the hearing. This summer, Brian had called me right before July, and he says, well, you know, since you said you're feeling better and you want to know what your grades are, we can have the hearing. And I said, okay, we can have a hearing, but I need the police body cam footage because there were 3 officers. And I also too need the police report. Not to mention, I need my health records because I don't know what you shot me up with because my whole entire right side has nerve damage. My right hand is closed. That's also too why I can't hold the phone right now. Um, and it's just in a claw hand position where it can't open up. And I have been very nice. I have put in multiple requests and I've been calling the school repeatedly. I've had other people call on my behalf, even sending in emails. And, the school, they respond back and saying, no comment, no comment. And they're basically, they're trying really hard to protect Brian at this point, to be very honest and blunt. They're trying really hard to protect him because he is a white man. And they know that I threaten their whole entire status quo of being diverse and inclusive. SUNY Albany has put me on panels to represent the Black community for people with disabilities. They've also included me in the conferences that I did plan and the LGBT community that I did help out with planning also their event. And basically, I have been a student that has been the model student because I have had lunch with the chancellor and so on. So now that the student is, seeking legal, requests, they are trying to shut down again the same way they shut down on me for the lawsuit. And I have a winning case because obviously Brian wrote in a statement that Ms. Pringle has an abnormal state of health. My health is not abnormal. I do have, over 5 different health conditions, but I am alive. I came out of my second coma and I do want to start a movement. And I do honestly too want to create a law that mandates it for any federally funded college or university to have epilepsy first aid, not just regular first aid. Because when I was calling to investigate along with other students, we found out that the we we found out that the University of Albany is only certified for regular first aid. And because they're only certified for regular first aid, this is breaking the American Disability Act. On top of breaking the American Disability Act by Brian Stephenson being an administrator and playing it okay to say that I have an abnormal state of health, that's not okay at all. And they are covering up very hard. And I know they're covering up very hard because I know that when I get my records and it releases the police body cam footage of what they did, I will win big. And it's just like the same time for the first lawsuit, I didn't have any like legal representation, sir. When I went to court, I didn't have no one by my side. And, I didn't understand all the legal jargon that they were saying to me. But I know that I did find one lady in legal aid who was helping me, outside of legal aid, help me understand, but she just was not willing to go into court, just like the rest of the attorneys, because they're scared to go to Supreme Court. And the judge saw how determined I was to keep going, even though I was in and out of the hospital throughout the whole court process. And, you know, I won and I have faith. I feel that if I came back to life for the second time out of this coma, I have a chance to win again. And I know I will win again. I just need the proper representation because I do represent everything from diversity, inclusion. I'm the Black woman that they put on these panels. I'm the Black student that you put on the face. You wanted me to represent the Black community, but then now that I'm demanding apologies, I'm demanding my records to prove that you're not complying with ADA, you're stalling, and they are trying to wear me out. And that's what everyone is saying. They're trying to wear you out. And I agree. They're trying to wear me out just like the last time. And I was worn out. I was very weak. I was very weak. I was in and out of the hospital. I was very weak. I was very weak. I'm very weak now. And I want to fight like hell. Excuse my language, but I want to fight like hell. I want to graduate. And that's all I've ever wanted. You know, I'm never about the money, but at this point, I can't be nice anymore. I need to be very ruthless, and I need to let them know that I'm not going to be the nice girl that went to the Supreme Court, accepting yes and okay, sir, like it's all right. No, it's not all right this time. It's not. And I want justice. And I have a backing of students who have flooded my inbox this whole entire week. Since I have been posting, I even released the audio tape to the warrant that they threatened me with. They said that I had a warrant for a criminal charge. And then they made up some excuse like, well, due to your health, we don't want to arrest you because we don't want, we don't want to, we don't want, we don't want to we don't want to exaggerate your conditions. And I posted it on social media and it went very crazy. And I had students flooding my inboxes saying, yeah, we've had issues with the school too, where we've caught a case and the school does not want to release the evidence to, help them fight their case. And I'm like, okay, would you be willing to, state that if I bring this up, to an organization? They're like, yeah, I've had two students say like they will come out and speak and say, yeah, I've had an issue with the UAlbany PD where they put cases against students, but they do not release the evidence where the students can fight back. And I will fight back.
Right. So, Niger, we obviously it's clearly an emotional situation. But if I can, let me just ask, what is the help that you really, that you need right now in terms of your legal action?
As I really just need my school records because once I get my school records and that police body cam footage, that will open up a can of worms, proving everything that the school is claiming that it's supposed to be, but it's really not. And it will expose that the university police officers, they do use excessive force. And instead of taking the time out to assess the situation, to realize that I was seizing, instead of thinking that, okay, we just see this Black girl and her little, outfit, but If I'm in a dress and heels, they take me seriously, but if I'm dressed down, they won't take me seriously. And I was attacked. I was strained down. I was thrown onto a stretcher. And in the report, it clearly states that, you know, Miss Pringle stated that she wanted to go back to her room. Miss Pringle stated that she does have a history of epilepsy. Miss Pringle stated that she wants to go get her medication because she needed her medication. And I didn't get my medication. I didn't get my medication because it took me some time to get up out of that chair, and they were just forcing me to rush and get up and go. And I said, I'm tired. You saw me have a seizure. I was tired.
Yeah,
You can't give me 10 minutes to sit. I'm tired.
right, okay. So let me just ask, I don't know if any of the attorneys want to respond at all, but certainly, Nigel, we should follow up. And, you know, I would certainly ask that you, if you can, just reach out tomorrow so
Yeah.
that we can just get more of the detailed information. Which of this, you said it's one of the SUNY colleges?
The University of Albany, the top one. And that's
Okay.
why people were so afraid to touch, you know, the case the first time I was
Right.
being sued. They were like, we don't understand why UAlbany is using the state of New
Right.
York, but you know,
Okay.
as came to light, everything came out.
All right, so if you follow up with us tomorrow, you can, yeah, you can, you're gonna, okay, yeah, if you can put it in the chat how we can reach out to you tomorrow, and we'll make sure that we do that.
I'll put my number right now.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Our next question is going to be from Roxanne Durham. Roxanne, you still with us? Oh, you have to unmute yourself. Oh, there you are. Okay. Good evening, Roxanne. All right, looks like you're on mute, but we don't hear you. Yeah, Roxanne? Okay. All right. Well, you will figure that out, Roxanne. You did unmute yourself, but we couldn't hear you. All right. Chantilly Hunter has a question. Chantilly?
Hi. I have really it's kind of complicated. I think I have 4 questions.
Okay.
The first one had to do with my son. He's currently in high school. He has an IEP. It's a educational plan. It's for kids who has either disabilities, physical or either learning disabilities. His identification is OHI, other health impaired, and that's due to the heart condition he was born with. They want to state that my son wants to get a credential planning for South Carolina, and I did not sign a form stating that. And he's old enough to voice his opinion. He's a teenager, and he had voiced his opinion during the meeting, stating that he would like his high school diploma. Well, I recorded the meeting, and they are now stating that they want to keep him in classes geared towards getting a certificate. And right now, I'm waiting for them to kind of like redo his schedule back to the original plan of geared towards getting his regular high school diploma. My question is that if something comes up where they are not allowing him to go into his regular classes, what can I do as a parent to advocate for him?
Okay, and this is in South Carolina?
Yes.
Okay, so I think what we need to do to answer that question most accurately is we should have you speak with one of our folks in South Carolina. So, because, like in New York and in other states, some of the regs with regard to, special ed and are very, very specific statewide. So, again, we can have our South Carolina office reach out to you tomorrow and try to walk through with you what you may need to do, if that works for you.
Yes, okay. And
Okay.
also I have another
The-
question.
Let me just tell you this, the person that will be reaching out to you, and Patricia, make sure we make this happen tomorrow, will be someone named Trudy Grant. And she's the administrator down in our South Carolina office. And we'll make sure that the two of you get connected so you can begin trying to at least get the parameters of what may need to happen, and we'll see how we can help facilitate what you need. Okay?
Okay. And my
All right.
other questions is geared towards my credit. Thank you so much for answering it for me and providing me with someone to get in contact with me as well, Attorney Hardy. The other questions I have is geared towards my credit.
Mhm.
So I had did some things on my credit where my credit is bad because they had brought stuff with my credit, and I'm in the process of getting it straightened out now. But it did credit fraud on me,
Mhm.
and how to go about clarifying that.
Okay. Anyone want to address that and that can give some nutshell of the avenues she may pursue? Joe, you're muted. You're muted.
There you
There you go.
Okay, I was wanting to jump in, but it said that the host won't allow us to unmute ourselves. I don't know how that works.
Okay, well, you're unmuted now.
All right. So, I'm sorry. Could you repeat the question? Because I heard it in and out. It was fading.
Her question has to do with addressing, credit issues that are on her report, including allegations of credit fraud.
Right. All right. There are certain
Is
issues.
that right, Ms. Hunter?
Yes, sir. Someone has used my personal information to get stuff, and it's on my credit,
Okay.
and I don't know how to get that taken off.
Okay. What I would recommend is as follows. If you don't mind, you can give me a call in my office tomorrow. There's an individual that works along with me that does a commercial matters like that, and he has handled identity fraud cases in the past. And I think I'd like to put you in touch with him. I gave my number before, but I'll give it to you again. But just call me tomorrow, and my telephone is 212-227-8865, and that's Joel Schmelkin. And I can just put you in touch with someone who can have a conversation with you about that.
Okay.
All right.
All right. And
All right.
my third question, I have another question, but I think
Yep.
I'll call him over the phone for that one. My third question do with labor.
Okay.
I work for the state of North Carolina as an educator, and I was not compensated my last paycheck.
Okay, well, I think the short answer to that, and again, when you speak with Joe, you can get into more detail, but I think the short answer, particularly when it comes to payroll actions, if you did not receive a paycheck, you should definitely call your state labor department because they manage those situations, and they can even bring in action against the employer. But you should make sure you file a complaint with the state. And you said in that case, it's North Carolina?
Yes.
Yeah, so you should contact the North Carolina Department of Labor. You can also go on their website, and they'll probably have a very specific section that addresses payroll, improper payroll with, withholdings or failure to pay, because that is specifically in their jurisdiction, and they have a lot of weight that they can address that. And again, other specifics of that you can address with Joel tomorrow.
All right, thank you.
All right. Okay. Those are three great questions. Thank you, Chantilly. All right, we're going to go to Roxanne. Are you ready yet? Okay. All right. So we're going to go to Miles. I'm sorry, Miles. George.
How you doing?
Good evening. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great. I'm great. Listen, I used to live in Brooklyn, and the issue is I used to work for the New York City Transit Authority. Had 22 years on the job, and when they did this, they said I was charged with excessive absenteeism. I have a letter from the director. Everything I have is letters from the Transit Authority. My name was taken off the sick control list, but they took me to a tripartite hearing. I have the letter here. Everything I have is in black and white to show that I wasn't dealt under state law as far as termination, as far as an administrative hearing dealing with oaths. So this letter that I have from them, they said they took my name off the sick control list. But when they took me through a step 1 and a step 2, like I said, they took me to a tripartite hearing. It's not dealing, that's just arbitration. That's not an administrative hearing under the state law. So if they didn't touch Article 75 and I pursued this in court, I hired an attorney. The attorney lost the case. I got the letter today, and this is a dated case. But the issue at hand is just like that woman just said. They owe me a salary for 20 days and 1 AVA. That money belongs to me. City, state, and federal tax, Social Security. The remainder of that money belongs to George. Don't have it in my possession. Why am I begging for this money? I have written the Transit Authority. I've written the Inspector General. I've written the 4 unit where they show everything I have is on Transit's letterhead, and they cannot get away with it. I have another letter where they don't want to pay me for the 20 days, but they want to pay me for the 1 AVA day. That's an 8-hour day. What happened to, I have 5 weeks vacation, 5. I took 1. Where are the other 4 weeks at? Where are the other 4 weeks at? I didn't break the contract. I did not break the contract. I'm ordered to go to a tripartite hearing with no representation, and the rug's been pulled from underneath me. Underneath me. So my issue is, when I fought this case, after the lawyer lost the case, I pursued this case as a pro se litigant. Again, I'm gonna say I have documentation from a judge who gave me authorization to proceed pro se.
Okay. So your matter is now in federal court or in state court? Well, you're muted. Yes. Hold on, George, because you're muted.
I'm sorry.
Now, I didn't. Are you in federal court or in state court?
I was in federal court. They put it over to the Court of Appeals. I was denied, but I have a judge's order for Rule 26F, which is mandatory for the defendant, any attorney. Now, what happened, I got to talk about the attorney. It's too long for me to talk. I just need a chance for any of these attorneys just to let me present the paperwork, because administratively, this case wasn't handled, wasn't done right. And
Right, okay. Now, let me just ask one quick question. When you said, I mean, because part of what you were saying sounded like you were going through, like, the grievances would be sort of at the union litigation level within the union matters. And then you said you had an Article 75, or did you do an Article 78?
No, when I hired an attorney he was advertising Article 78. I went and purchased it. When I went to this attorney, he knows the difference between what I filed. Because I had to fight for my unemployment. I have another document from the administrative law judge. I had to fight for my unemployment. And I showed the letter from the transit authority that they were charging me with excessive absenteeism. I showed them the letter with the director's name on it.
I understand. I'm just trying to make, so you did an Article 78 proceeding in state court.
Yeah, no, what I needed was Article 75. That is the core values of the New York City Transit Authority and labor relations. So they went on the path and did another method. This is the underhanded method. They showed me a different method. Like I said, it's too much for me to talk about.
No, I got you, and we'll arrange for you to meet with an attorney. But is it those issues that then went into the federal action? Is that?
Yes, and
Okay.
I had to ask, see, because as a pro se litigant, I was never asked, I was trying to reopen the case, but I said the correct words, so they gave, but these judges, they already know, this paperwork cannot change. The judge already said I was supposed to have a Rule 26F. The other side knows that. I'm gonna hold them to this. A judge's nature.
Oh, okay, all right. Okay, so why don't we do this, George? I don't, well, first, before we do that, I don't know if any of the attorneys just want to address any parts of this. But why don't you, give us a call tomorrow. You want to take this number down?
Yes,
You ready? Or you can, all right, Patrice is going to put it in the chat.
Thank you.
So just make sure you call tomorrow so that we can make arrangements to have, an attorney sit and go through the documents with you.
yeah,
Okay?
because it's too long for me to really talk. The paperwork was written in
I
black.
understand.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So before we come back to Roxanne, we're going to go to LaQuanda. LaQuanda, you had a question?
Hi, good afternoon. My name is LaShonda.
Oh, LaShonda, hi, sorry.
It's okay. Hi. I'd just like to know what I can be helped with. On October 2nd, I was scheduled for surgery. And I went to the hospital and I was approached by the nurse. He was doing his job, which was doing the temperature check. He asked me what floor I was going to, and I responded in a respectful manner, but I said the wrong floor. He was already erratical. Make a long story short, I looked to the left and I asked the hospital security to help me with the situation before it could come erratical. I had my papers in my hand. My papers were telling him I was scheduled to go to a surgery and would prove which floor I was going to. As I was opening, I was nervous. The papers dropped out of my hand. As I came up, the nurse hit me across my neck. I have problems with my neck. I just took an MRI. It's like basically nothing is being done. This went to the 44th precinct. The October 2nd, 44th precinct still hasn't got in contact with me. I just reached out to them. I was told that Detective Garcia is on the case. Detective Garcia is no longer with the case, no longer with the precinct. I said, fine. They say your case is closed because we try to get in contact with you. I say, no, I'm going to contend this because where I live at, I have video cameras. So if a cop came to my door, what message did he leave? What phone number? So basically, this is what I'm saying. Someone hit me and he gets away with it. I wasn't even able to get my surgery. I'm still walking around and I'm quite sure this individual still has this job. Nobody want to take the case. Basically, I'm a victim of domestic violence, and this is what I'm shown. Basically, a man could hit me again and get away with it. But what I'm telling by the 44th precinct is we got shootings and crimes. No, mine's is not important enough. So what happens with that?
Right. Well, let me just ask in terms of the surgery, what are your doctors saying with regard to that?
To be honest with you, I didn't see the doctor because I'm too afraid to go back to the hospital. Going back to the hospital is not just facing the staff, I'm facing the security and the way they talk to people. And then I'm scared to go under anesthesia. The doctor said to me, Miss Gloucester, I don't want to put you under because I'm afraid you might not wake up. Those was his words, not mine. So basically, someone did something to me in the hospital. Do you think I really want to go there to get the surgery done? No one's doing anything. I'm basically left for myself.
Right. Okay.
I wrote to the New York State Department of Hospital Income Tax. They have not responded to me. I've called lawyers, attorneys, no one want the case. What do I do?
Okay. Anyone want to speak to that briefly?
I'll mention something to you. Can you hear me? Am I
Yes.
unmuted? Okay. I'm assuming, without getting personal right now, this is some sort of elective surgery.
It was supposed to get pins in my toe.
Pins in your toe
Yeah,
to be put in or taken out.
it was supposed to be put in because I'm walking around with a broken screw right now.
Why?
Yeah.
Why did you need pins in your toe?
Because the screw that the doctor put is broken.
I understand,
And
but
you
did you have some sort of an accident where you broke your feet? Where you broke
No, I had a bunion removal. That's what happened.
Look, first things first. Your
Yes.
health always comes first before any case, as you know. If you're injured, if you're not feeling well, if you're not happy at that particular hospital, I would go to another hospital. You have a
I
person.
did that, sir. I did that.
Do you
I
have
did
it?
that. And
You have-
I get treated like mental health. I went to Harlem Hospital, yes. And I went to Lincoln. But see, that's another thing. When you got mental health issues, and you go to the hospital, guess what? They treat you like you have one.
I understand. Now, do you have a primary care physician?
Yes, I do.
Have you spoken with he or
guess
she
what?
about this?
He works with Bronx Care, the same people who hit me.
Here's what I would do. I would go right to the office of your primary care physician. I would speak with another doctor there. Sometimes, you know, it's like anything else. There's no rhyme or reason. You've got to hook up with the right person. You got to explain the situation over there, and you've got to take care of it that way.
Sir, I've been doing that for 4 months. And if you don't believe me, you can go. They treat you like you're nothing there.
I believe you.
I've literally cried. My meds has been changed since this whole situation.
I understand. Look, here's what I want you to do. You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
You live in the Bronx?
Yes, I do.
And you've gone to which hospital?
I went to Lincoln.
Okay.
I went to Harlem Hospital.
Okay. All right.
Those are the 2 hospitals that I went to.
I would go to Albert Einstein or go to Jacoby. Go right
Okay.
over there and you start fresh and you'll tell them what happened and so on. You take care of your health first. That's always the first important thing. Then after that's done, you go right back to the social worker at the hospital where the individual attacked you. Have you spoken with the social worker over there?
Sir, I have spoken to everybody in Bronx Care. If you know about Bronx, Lebanon, you know. They're not a factor. They don't care about nothing. They don't care.
Fulton or Concourse?
1650, the Grand Concourse.
Have you been to Fulton?
I go to Fulton because that's where my primary doctor. Don't you know, sir, the morning that man hit me, do you know what the hospital police said to me? They didn't see nothing.
All right.
Yeah, those were their words to me. So basically, I'm out here fighting for myself.
Listen.
The police telling me that they've been to my house. Nobody's been here.
All right, listen. Here's what I recommend. First things first, you take care of your health. You go to another hospital. Take care of it at that particular point. After that, you give me a call. I got a couple of ideas running through my head right now. Call me in my office, And I'm going to try to see what I can recommend you do so that they investigate and look into this, because this particular security guard has no business being in this particular hospital.
Well, basically, I don't mean to be rude on this network, but basically, nobody's doing anything for me. Basically, I feel like this: a man could just hit me and get over with it.
I want to
Because
try to
you're
help.
telling me basically what the same thing you're telling me. I'm
Let me-
innocent.
let
I'm
me-
trying to get help for my medical. I can't help it if they, like you said earlier on this, if you don't have the right medical, ain't nobody
That's right.
touching you.
That's
Huh?
right.
I'm ready
right.
to go to the news. Who's willing to help me? Huh? Let's look at that video. Let's look at that video of that man hit me. Because you know
LaShonda-
what? I haven't been straight since.
LaShonda, that's what I think Attorney Schmelkin is saying to you.
I agree with you. That's right. All right. LaShondra, can you hear me? Hello?
She's muted.
He's muted. Okay.
All right, so LaShonda, hopefully you'll follow up. Joe Schmelkin's information is in the chat room. And again, if for any reason you don't connect, then just make sure you call here. And that's the 1-877-626-4651 number, so that we can try to get you the help that you need. That's what Attorney Schmelkin was extending to you. So please make sure you follow up with him. And again, he has put his information in the chat room so that you can access that and reach out to him tomorrow.
But take care of your go right to a hospital. Take care of that. Okay.
You're on mute,
Okay.
LaShonda. Okay. Okay. Oh, you have to unmute yourself, LaShonda. Oh, okay, there you go. There you go.
I'm staying on top of my health. I'm going to my doctor's appointments.
Good.
I am. But at
Good.
the same time, it could be a little overwhelming. You know, like I said, like the situation with the police department, you know? So I will reach out to y'all guys tomorrow, and I'm with the doctors. I didn't give up on them. I'm just a little afraid. And
Well,
that's it.
Joel is going to sit with you and try to, help give you some direction and maybe even a little bit of courage.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Yeah, appreciate y'all. Thank
My
you.
pleasure.
All right. So Roxanne sent us a note. Roxanne is a victim of and she's on with us,
Okay.
but we're communicating her issue for her. Roxanne is a victim of a crime in her business. She says that this happened in court after she purchased property. She's a local realtor in Bedford-Stuy, Brooklyn, and her property is next to a lot. She needs an attorney to help her. I think without more, Roxanne, obviously we know in New York City now, particularly,
You know, right?
okay. Who's that?
Tomorrow.
What I was going to say, Roxanne, is we know that there is a lot happening in the real estate area in New York City, particularly in areas like Bedford-Stuyvesant and in places like Harlem, for those communities in particular that have brownstone properties. So certainly, the claim does not strike as insincere or anything. But you'll need to just reach out to us tomorrow so we can get a little bit more information than what you've provided us tonight, so we can try to, again, match you with someone who works in the real estate area and that can, give you some real guidance with regard to that situation. A lot of people also realize now that there's a lot of deed fraud going on. You have to be enormously careful, particularly when you're a property owner, because that real estate is all enormously valuable now. So make sure you follow up tomorrow. You can follow up with Patrice, and we will, guide you and match you up with someone who can, give you some very specific guidance. So please make sure you do that, and please make sure you follow up with us tomorrow. All right, we're going to go to Wooly Joe has a question. She has to be unmuted, or?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's it. I've been dealing with injury case for 3. I had an injury in 2013, and I was dealing with the case. It's for the setup 2018, and my attorney, he didn't. He said he didn't have a case against the city, and what happened in 2018, they made a decision. So my attorney didn't he didn't fought the case, and the city didn't. They say the city didn't. They wasn't responsible for my injuries. Okay, 2018, 2019, I put in some paperwork for the appellate court, into the appellate court, and they wrote, they said that my lawyer didn't do anything wrong, but I found out that he did. Okay, and I got a letter from Medicaid office, and they told me that I had that I got a settlement in 2018 from the injuries that I sustained. Okay, where I'm at now with this, I want to bring charges against my attorney and his law firm. I want to know how to do the paperwork. I can start the paperwork with to sue my attorneys, my former attorney, for what they did. I had life-threatening injuries. I got staples in my spine. I got metal in my knee. I had all my ribs broken. I had punctured lung. I had spleen laceration with I got staples in it right now, and metal in my knee. And I'm disabled. The day I got injured, that's the day I became disabled, couldn't work no more. So what I want to do now, I want to file paper for my, have my attorney disbar. I don't want to know how to do the necessary paperwork. I know if I can get an attorney to help me, so I have to pay for one out of my pocket.
Okay, so you're currently represented now, though, by?
No.
Okay. All right, well, I think with regard to the main part of what you're saying, have you been, what county what county are you in?
King.
In Kings County?
Yes.
Okay, I think the best recommendation really would be to contact the disciplinary committee in the second department. They because that covers Kings County, and they can both provide you with information with regard to the conduct of the attorney. And, I'm sure that, they can also provide, they probably have access to attorneys that also specialize, in attorney malpractice. So my recommendation would be to, contact the disciplinary committee.
I think,
If I can add one thing, sir, let me just mention, because you had a lot of issues. I'm going to talk to you generally speaking about a few things. You mentioned about your attorney disbarred. An attorney is disbarred if he does something illegal, if he does something unethical, if he does something fraudulently. If he just made a mistake, made an honest mistake, that's generally speaking not grounds for a disbarment. It could be, but not necessarily. But if you want to sue an attorney, you've got to be able to show two things. Number one, you got to be able to show that you had a legitimate case to begin with. And then number two, you got to be able to show that he screwed up, that he did something wrong, that he missed deadlines, that he didn't put evidence into court. So without me getting involved in too many issues, you said it happened in 2013. Was that the date of your accident?
yeah, did an accident, yeah, but they made a decision on 2018.
All right, what was the accident about? There was a case against the city?
Yeah, supposedly the car hit an ambulance, and I was standing on the sidewalk. Ambulance hit me.
Our car hit an ambulance, the ambulance went on the sidewalk, and ambulance hit you. Okay. So if that's the case, possibly you'd have a claim against the car that hit the ambulance, as well as the ambulance, if you can show that the ambulance could have possibly avoided this, if the ambulance perhaps was driving without the sirens, without, it was driving negligently. Let's assume.
They had no sirens.
All right, let's assume you can. All right, you got to be able to show your attorney started a lawsuit in time. You have a year and 90 days against the ambulance because that's
See you, Pete. We'll come to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of different issues over here. And then you have to find out, why was the case dismissed? Was it dismissed because of the fact that your attorney missed certain deadlines? Or was it dismissed because of the fact that the ambulance was able to show that it was going to an emergency and they were able to get by? There are certain benefits that an ambulance has, that the city has, called the emergency. And if they're responding to an emergency, a lot of times they have immunity. So there are a lot of specific issues over here. If you have any papers as to when it was dismissed and the reason for it was dismissed, you can fax it or email it to me. I'll take a look at it, and we'll see if you have what's called an underlying case. If the case against the city, against the ambulance, was legitimate to begin with. If it was, then you go to the second issue, is why was it dismissed? Was it because the attorney failed to do something? And I can, if you have some papers, I can look at it for you. In fact, or email it.
Okay, before, Willie Joe, before you go, Attorney Pete Gleason wanted to add something.
Sure.
Okay.
Pete, you're muted.
Okay.
No, not you.
Oh.
There you
Mr.
go.
Thank you, Michael. Mr. Willie.
Yes, sir.
Did this accident happen on Flatbush Avenue?
Yes.
And it was with the fire department van and a woman driving on the sidewalk?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, I'm very familiar with the incident. So let me give you my number, and with Joel, we'll speak to you tomorrow. I have some great insight into exactly what happened. Have you seen the video?
No, my attorney gave me a video, but he wasn't sure. I think he gave me a blank video.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the exact incident. I represented that has nothing, it's not a conflict with you. I represented the fire department van that was struck by the individual who was driving on the sidewalk and pushed the van into you. So I'm a little surprised that your case fell through the cracks. So I'd be interested.
Because the city doctor, he would not testify at I don't know what happened in court, cause my attorney never informed me to go to court. I don't know, I didn't know what happened. I still yet don't know what happened.
Nope.
I can't get no answers, what happened in court.
So when you contact Mr. Schmelkin, I'm happy to get on the call with you and share my insight into that.
What's the number?
Okay,
My number is 646-872-3546.
His name?
All right, and
His
Patrice
name?
put it in the chat also. And
What's
you
his
see,
name?
Hassa, you can, I'm sorry, Willie, were you gonna say something?
no,
What's
the
his
name,
name?
the attorney name?
Peter Gleason, Gleason, like Jackie.
What?
GL?
Eason.
Oh, yeah, like, okay, like.
Yeah,
okay.
and she put it in the chat also.
Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. We got the number.
Okay, we got
Alright.
it.
You got it?
Yes,
So it's in the
Okay.
chat.
All right, so it sounds like Joel, Schmelkin, and Pete will speak to you together and try to work this through for you. And I was gonna just tease Hosser and say, you see, that is the miracles that happen at National Action Network. So let
Yeah.
Judge Silver know that. But anyway, it is, and those are the kind of things that happen on Legal Night. That's the magic of Legal Night, when you have those kinds of moments. And it's, you know, I'm sure there are a number of us that are touched by that, and it's so special. So make sure you follow up, Willie Joe.
I will.
We can, you got a great name there, because, you know, New York and Willie Joe and Joe Willie. So you
I get it
are
all.
right. You are right there. So listen, this has been great. I don't think we have any other questions. I want to take, as we wind down, I know we have Sister Dawn Jones on. Dawn Jones heads up the Political Action Committee here at National Action Network. So Dawn, it would be great if you could say hello to everyone. Take a second to tell them
Wait for
about the
the message.
Political Action Committee here at National Action Network. All right, I think we're, okay, you have to unmute yourself, Dawn. There you go.
Okay, greetings, House of Justice, and everyone who's joined Legal Night this evening. And thank you, Attorney Hardy, for all that you do at the House of Justice. This month is National Mentoring Month, and the National Action Network New York City Chapter Political Action Committee, we're presenting a Saturday voter education forum. Join us from the safety of your home. It's on this Saturday, January 30th, 2021 at 12:30 p.m. We're going to be having a discussion with local community leaders on ranked choice voting in New York City, live on Zoom. Our meeting ID is 741-8631-9998, password LAP32 capital B. And I thank you so much for this opportunity.
When is that again, Dawn?
The meeting ID?
No, when is the program again?
It's on this Saturday, January 30th, 2021 at 12:30 p.m.
All right, can we put that in the chat? Yeah, okay, go ahead, I'm
And
sorry.
I learned on this evening that we'll be doing ranked choice voting in all elections except for the district attorney's race. And hopefully on Saturday, I can find out why it's not in the district attorney's race.
Well,
But this,
I can tell you, because the
Yes.
district attorney is a state office, not a local city office.
oh, thank you so much, Attorney Hardy. But we'll be getting information and training on this Saturday on ranked choice voting. This is something we'll be doing for February, the special elections, as well as the primaries in June.
All right, thank you. And we'll make sure that everyone gets that information. And Ashley, I can redirect this to you, but I'll have Patrice, because, you know, we stay active here at the House of Justice. And so every Monday, the Huddle, which is our youth move here at National Action Network, which was founded and is given leadership by Ashley Sharpton. Patrice Perry, you want to just give everyone some information on Huddle?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. I'm happy to be a senior advisor of the NAN Youth Huddle. We've been active for the last 7 years. We're here every Monday, socially distanced, of course, here at the national headquarters, 106 West 145th Street. And what do? We huddle up to develop dreamers to lead and empower. That's what Huddle acronym stands for, and that's what we do. We get our young people out, we get them involved. Just recently, we went over and marched to where they harassed the young lady in the liquor store and harassed her because she said no to a gentleman. So this is the stuff that NAN Youth Huddle does. We want you to join us. You can always join us on our website at nationalactionnetwork.net. Young people are on the move, and they're definitely moving through National Action Network, not Local Action Network, but National Action Network. Join us every Monday, 6:30. We start promptly so you can get home, get your schoolwork done. There's no excuses. We need your children to get active. Every parent on here has a child that can be effective and can grow from our NAN Youth Huddle. So many kids in Morehouse and Spelman have grown throughout the National Action Network Youth Huddle. We invite you to join us. Trust me, parents, you won't be disappointed. Your kids will grow up strong and become leaders of this new normal that we have right now. Please join us every Monday, 6:30. We are here at the House of Justice, 106 West, 145th Street, safely distant. We do PPE. We do everything that we have. And guess what else? We also provide dinner. Get your young people to join us. We'll see you on Monday. Thank you.
All right. And so as we wind out, let me start with Pete. Any parting remarks, Pete?
Everybody stay safe. Have a great evening.
All right. Hassa, anything as we get ready to sign off here? Can we unmute him or? All right.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for having me here today. I hope to be a part of more of these, and the legal acumen of the folks who gave advice today has been fantastic. So I hope that I can match that in some way at future meetings. But everyone stay safe and healthy, and I look forward to seeing you soon again.
All right. And likewise, we look forward to seeing you, and keep us posted on all that is happening with you. We'd love to get more information on that.
Certainly.
And our regards to the good judge.
I
Joe?
will, and I'll tell him the great work that man is doing, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you. Joe?
Sure. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. I hope we had some new faces, some new people. We always meet the last Thursday of every month with the exception of August, November, and December. We'll be back February 25th, 6:30, most probably on Zoom, and hope to see everybody there. Stay safe, be well, and thank you very much for dropping in.
All right. Thank you, Joel. And as Joel just said, February 25th, that is the last Thursday of the month of February. And so if it's the last Thursday of the month, it's legal night at National Action Network. We also want to remind everybody that we are here at National Action Network every Saturday morning from 9 to 11 a.m. with our Saturday Action Rally. The Honorable Dr. Reverend Al Sharpton is always in the house for the Saturday Action Rally. So if you want to come by to shake hands with Reverend Sharpton after the rally, or to get your power for the week, because that's what we do at our rallies. We empower people. And I have to say, we have done our Saturday Action Rally every Saturday for the 30 years that National Action Network has been in existence. We have never missed a Saturday Action Rally. And there are two things that you can always be certain about with Saturday Action Rallies, and that is that Al Sharpton or Michael Hardy will be at each and every one of them, because as I said, we have never missed a Saturday in those 30 years, and we're very proud of it. Let me also just add very quickly, because I know there was some news articles about it with regard to demolition requests that were made with regard to 145th Street. Don't be alarmed. National Action Network is not going anywhere. In fact, the future is coming to 145th Street, because this will be the very future site of the new National Action Network headquarters, and also the new National Museum of Civil Rights, which will tell the story of the Northern Civil Rights Movement. Many people don't know everything that you need to know about Reverend Sharpton or Reverend Jesse Jackson or Shirley Chisholm or Frederick Douglass, for that matter, or so much of the civil rights and social justice history was made right here in the North. And when people think of civil rights, they are rights movement with Dr. King, but a lot of that was done here and out of the North, and we will be building that Civil Rights Museum. It will go up right here at this footprint at 145th Street. So keep your eyes on it. It's coming soon, and we're very proud to be a part of that. And along with that will also be the brand new headquarters of National Action Network. And all will happen before you know it. It'll be like a blink of the eye. It'll all be down and all be up before you know it. And you will have this new experience. And it's going to be truly fantastic. And the museum is going to be an addition to not only the cultural scene in New York City, but in the nation, because again, you know, most people are not even aware that Adam Clayton Powell Jr., who was the congressman and the pastor at Abyssinia Baptist Church, led bus boycotts almost 15 years before the 55 bus boycotts in Montgomery. And in fact, in studying for how to do the Montgomery bus boycotts, Dr. King read Adam Clayton Powell's book, Marching Blacks, so that he could learn how to conduct himself with regard to the Montgomery bus boycott. So there's so much history there, in this museum and the new headquarters of National Action Network will be telling that story. So make sure you stay tuned. Also, as you all know, again, the toll-free number here at National Action Network is 1-877-626-4651. We are 24/7 here, and the doors of the House of Justice is always open. Our crisis center is still active. Again, even though our crisis manager, William Allen, is now running for office, and as we said, we wish him well. We will monitor and follow his campaign, but we do wish him good luck. We probably will have some future forums with regard to that council race. And as I said earlier, we will be having a debate of the district attorney candidates on Thursday, February 4th. And you can go to the Mount Morris Park Community Association website or the Greater Harlem Coalition to get the information on that. Once again, from Reverend Al Sharpton, our president and founder, the Reverend Dr. W. Franklin Richardson, our chairman of the board, and from me, Michael Hardy, we want to thank you. We want to thank all of our staff who was here tonight, all of the attorneys. Let's give the attorneys that have been with us a collective clap. We have to remember that they give up their time. They volunteer this time. They don't charge us for the time. This is total pro bono work. And again, I'll say it again, it was a very moving moment, again, to see the magic that happens at National Action Network's Legal Night. And Willie Joe, make sure you follow up. So with that said, we're going to wish everyone a good night. Again, we thank all of you who have signed on to Legal Night here at National Action Network at the House of Justice in the great village of Harlem, because everybody, if it's the last Thursday of the month, it's Legal Night at National Action Network. Good night.
Have a good night.